Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Ben, Alonso, catching up on the Knick episodes 204, Wonderful Surprises, and 205, Whiplash. Steven Soderbergh reminding us that he's the guy who directed Contagion, because everybody knows the best moment of that movie is watching Gwyneth Paltrow getting her scalp peeled back.
Oh, right.
So we get to do that again.
Yeah, that's right. All right. That came a little bit out of nowhere, but it was still gripping. Like, it's one of those things, like, it's just where they point out the wild experimentation going on. But we see at the end, like, obviously, we know it didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, we know that they're still addicts, so we know it didn't work.
Definitely.
So he killed that guy. I mean, he
At least,
that guy.
yeah, exactly. He turned him into a vegetable at the very least. Yeah. You just can't go poking around and chopping bits out. You know?
Yeah, right. Also, just, I mean, the entry. I kept screaming, like, my wife, she's not watching at all. And her head is buried in the pillow. But I'm like, how do you know how far in you can put that thing? Like, that just seemed...
They don't.
There. Oh, my God. But, I mean, the leg twitching and the arm and the laughing, that was all...
Well, I mean, here's the thing. That's what they're doing with pretty much every part of the human body on this show. Yeah. They're just poking and grabbing and cutting, and they don't know half the time. And, you know, what they get right is astonishing. And obviously, I think the point of the Algernon character as this outsider, not just being the one black surgeon at this hospital, but as the guy who's gone to Paris, as the guy who has had to, you know, who had to do way better in med school than any of these white guys.
Totally.
You know, who had an easier path of it. He's sort of the voice of the future. And so what little they kind of are doing new and right on the show is generally coming from him, one way or another, and even his stuff is still like a good 100 plus years out of date. You know, it was the cutting edge of 1901.
Yeah, but Thack is into it. Thack will do anything.
Yeah, Thack is open to it, and Bertie's open to it. Yeah, I mean, it's not like they won't do it, but it's certainly not. They're not chasing down the Pierre Curie translation if he's not telling them about it. You know?
Yeah, no, that's. But I mean, when the show's at its best, and it's terrific. But I mean, that idea of experimentation and that we can solve anything, that we can. But of course, it is also reckless because, you know, at least it comes across to me that Zinberg has the wrong approach here.
That is too conservative.
Too conservative, considering this era, and there's too much changing, too many. Again, Thack's craziness cured syphilis. Right? Forever. Like, I mean, changed the world by curing syphilis.
But that's not even how they cure syphilis now, though, right? I mean, now it's penicillin.
Yeah, I don't think
they don't give you malaria to cure your syphilis. Sure. And next week we may find out that wasn't such a hot idea either.
So
I don't know.
She'll have died of malaria.
Yeah, right, you know, you're right. At least he's groping in the right direction.
And I think the message being sent is this is the right choice.
Yeah.
Like this sort of this degree of incredibly risky envelope pushing, because these people. That guy is lobotomized.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the whole sort of ethics of experimentation, you know, like, I mean, there are people who don't want you to do it on animals or whatever, but it's like, well, if you do it on people, you know, you could be wrong and wind up with this guy. Obviously, I think when you're looking at a terminal patient like Bertie's mother, it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to be more dying, so you might as well, like, try something
But
radical.
I was still surprised. That was interesting. So we had 2 moments of levity from, lightening, really, from Bertie's family.
Yeah.
You know, and his dad saying, I did not expect him when he said, I've translated this paper from Polish about radiation. Go. Do it. Like, I got it. Let's go. Let's get her in. Let's give her some...
And had that been just any old patient, there might have been more of a conversation there. But like, no, my wife is suffering and dying. Let's do it. You know.
Right, which is also always a frustrating thing about so many people in the establishment is that it takes something personal for them to react to a need when like to use the Rob Portman, the senator from Ohio, who changed his mind on gay marriage because he has a gay kid and. Like, okay, bravo to him, but did it not occur to you that there were Ohioans with gay kids before it turned out you had a gay kid?
You know, sometimes people don't.
I know, but it was
get out of their own head.
Right. So you want to praise him for it, but you wish in leadership you recognize
that you had more empathy with people who were not directly related to you.
You don't have to lose your own foot to realize people can lose their own feet. To
Bingo.
Use a horrible example. My foot was here, so I talked about it. But anyway, it was, so we have every week we seemingly have significant. You forget, you get so wrapped up in the characters. This is really mostly about breakthroughs in medicine and changing. And we had the great moment of Thack yelling at Gallinger, you know, like he's had enough of his little, I don't need to, oh, shut up, for the love of God, he's right, just do it, enough. Yeah.
Well, and I think that what's interesting about the eugenics subplot that we've been seeing over the last couple of episodes is that it's sort of the dark side of this notion of science can fix everything.
That's right.
And we can fully understand how the body works and how the soul works and all that stuff, and we can genetically design this perfect human race. And, you know, baby Hitler was just born on this show, you know.
That's right.
So obviously that's, you know, there are consequences and there are darker paths that can be followed for people who aren't taking an ethical point of view about it.
But the eugenics thing is interesting. I've been wrong about Gallinger. I'm curious. I thought when he was listening to that eugenics conversation, I think partly because he dried Thack out, although unsuccessfully. But he gave it a shot, and granted there were personal motives for that.
Sure, yeah.
But then the way he was listening to that eugenics conversation, I thought he was going to have I can't be with these
Is this what I sound like?
This is what I sound like, right? I thought he was going to go home, and partially because he's being recognized, his wife's family is ready to institutionalize her forever because they're embarrassed by her.
Right.
That he would come to Holland, you know, come to Algernon and say, you know, and be at least like, all right, you're actually quite a good doctor, you know, right? But no, he's instead he's gone the other way.
Oh yeah, no, he's full bore into this, and to the point where now, oh great, you're sterilizing people. Yeah. That's great. Good for you, Dr. Gallinger.
Yeah, but I didn't think about it in the terms of science getting in the way of progress.
Yeah.
But that's a really good point. Yeah, those scenes are rough. Those guys are so horrible. I mean, those Penn guys. I wonder if you're the dean of the Penn Medical School. You're like, come on.
Yes, it happened. Can we shut up about the Blues?
Dartmouth? Can they go to Dartmouth? Can they go somewhere else? I guess they don't have a
fucking Cornell. Do them.
Right, totally. Yeah.
Leave me out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, Anthony Rapp is so good because he's just so like blandly, you know.
Which one is Anthony Rapp?
He's like the younger of the eugenicists.
Yeah, there's a guy. I'm sure the guy I recognize. Yeah. It's all, and just bringing in that other doctor, and they well-meaning, but these poor, what are they going to do to these poor kids?
Yeah.
Jesus. But as always, you know, gripping stuff, and we'll, interesting to see Harold, I think is his name.
The son of.
The brother and the son of. So he's not telling his dad that he lost Subway money. He's ready to commit more money.
Right.
And he's got a lot going on because he's shooting porn.
Yes.
And he's romancing Bono's daughter.
Yes.
It's excellent.
It's a full play. Yeah, she's so great.
Oh, she's terrific. Yeah.
Eve Hewson. Yeah.
Yeah, there she is right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This show is just so consistently great. I mean, all the subplots, like I kind of feel like they're almost forgetting about Spate, you know, and Cornelia's investigation of his murder. Like that's starting to feel like an afterthought. I'm hoping they're going to loop that around into something that's more interesting about the plague and the boats and whatever. All the stuff with Cleary and Sister Harry, you know, it continues to be great. I mean,
wonderful. I think it was the last episode. Their wonderful conversation about where she'd stay.
Yes, you know. Yeah, that was last week. And then and you know, apparently Ireland's, you know, didn't just keep all of their awful Catholic nuns. They exported some to us as well.
But she clearly feels like she has to endure this.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. She's always been conflicted about this. She's never been cavalier. The cavalier abortionist. I think she's always felt that she, at some level, she knows that it's contradictory with what she considers her faith and what she considers her role in the church, but at the same time, she's a pragmatist, you know. And so
I think she's more than a pragmatist because she wants to help this girl out. She thinks her job is to help people, and she knows, like, she's too practical, so she'll ultimately she's not going to change her ways. But I think she's very comfortable getting yelled at. Like, she feels like this is, you know, she got out of it in the courtroom.
That's her lot in life.
Her lot in life is, so this is her penance, is to sit there and have these horrible women scream at her, and she's like, yeah, well, all right, bring it on. This might make her feel better. But Cleary just turned out to be one of the great guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although
did he kill the wrestler? Did he kill the?
Well, by accident, yes.
That guy's dead?
Yeah, he doped him up. That was my impression, was that he died in the ring.
But then there's I guess if you die in the ring, there's no nobody does anything back then. Nobody.
Yeah, it was an underground wrestling thing, so I'm sure.
Like the guy had a heart attack.
I'm sure he's dog food.
It's 1900 New York. People died all the time.
Yeah, just put him in a gutter somewhere. No one's going to notice. But his whole weird thing about this week about where he's kind of subcontracting the patient delivery.
No, totally. Yeah.
But then it blows up in his face, and it's so was Harold just being genuinely compassionate, or was he because he's an investor in the subway? That's why he was sort of.
I think one of those good things about the show is we don't know. It was the right thing to do. You don't, but he doesn't want to bill the subway even more money. But you know what? So much that I think we're talking about sums that $15,000 payment to the hospital is not going to. But nonetheless, so I don't know. But probably selfishly. But he's got a lot going on, and I don't know. He seems he's cool with Algernon. Mm-hmm. He romanced a bunch of...
Oh, we forgot. Last week was Algernon's wife calling out the parents about why are his parents working downstairs and not sitting at this table.
And they have this horrible relationship until it turns out maybe they don't.
No, yeah, she's actually... I at first thought, oh boy, this is going to be, sort of classic loss. The unspoken of wife turns up and she's a nightmare, but she's actually turning out to be
they had started to have fun. They're joking with each other while they're dancing, and then they go to who's that supposed to be? That guy, was that W.E.B. Du Bois, sort of, some version?
Somebody like that, yeah.
And they're together, and he's even starting to answer, he was getting into it. He was like, yeah, that's right. And then finally, I want to mention Hoover, that's not his name. Boyer. Barrow.
Barrow, thank you. I knew it until you asked me.
Because that scene with his wife was
Oh, I felt so bad for her. God,
aching.
There's nothing more humiliating than a character who is just like putting themselves in a position that they're already uncomfortable in the hopes of appealing to somebody else, and then having that person just shoot it down.
In every possible, and then go and get an apartment with his
for your hua
for your
gumar.
For your gumar. I mean, that no relationship is more doomed to fail than.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
And she's not even a good liar, and he still just doesn't care.
But the different prostitute who was with Bertie the week before, I love her. She was great. So great. Yeah.
And I thought the Asian one this week was there for the checkup was fascinating. If I have a man in my hand, I can control him.
The women are richly drawn, and you see, I mean, the sexual assault that's coming from Cordelia's father-in-law that's going to be terrific.
No, the brothel could be its own show.
The brothel could be its own show. It's really terrific, and I mean, in this Genevieve, I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I love her.
Who doesn't love this?
Nellie Bly, Mankiewicz.
She's terrific. So always good stuff.
So good.
We'll be back maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks for more of the Knick. Thanks for watching.